Well, hello, gang. This is me, Pregnant Sonic. Not New Metal Sonic, that was a different Sonic. I'm Pregnant Sonic. I have a tiring day out the campaign trail. Talking to people, listening to their issues, and thinking of a better America. I like to unwind and listen to Corner Späti and support them on patreon.com/Corner Späti. It's the most exciting thing I've ever done, except being an expectant mother. Alright, vote for me, 2020, Pregnant Sonic. Gotta go!
You know, this is something that's been bothering me for a long time, and now that there's two of you here, I really need to bring it up. The scourge of Europe, which are American and Canadians, pretending to be Italian, A, to get passports and live in the EU, and B, to say outdated slurs that I've never heard before, but you tell me are very offensive. And I just, like, this is an intervention, and I want to bring it up.
Offensive.
And I just want to address it, you know?
Too.
What?
You can say the anti-Italian.
I don't know. I don't have an Italian passport, so I don't know if I can say it. I didn't pass the test.
Here's the thing. Being Italian is a mindset. It's 50% hustle, 50% heart. Anyone can do it. You just got to grind enough, and anyone can be Italian if they put their mind to it.
I failed the CAPTCHA on the being Italian test, which was like, select all the sexy ladies in the photos below.
A quote from my favorite Italians, Fort Minor, is that it is 10% luck, 20% skill, concentrated power of will.
And then, of course, 5% pasta water.
Bolognese?
Yeah. And then,
so, since you two have become Italian, like, how has it changed your life? Like, just maybe as like a promo for any potential Italians out there.
Oh, whoa, the broads. I know nothing. I can live here without a fucking visa. It's cool.
I got to listen to the Berlusconi episode of the podcast and be like, yeah, that guy's my brother, basically. We have the same lifestyle. So it's great being Italian.
I was thinking that I'm going to start.
I wouldn't trade it in for anything unless I got a German passport.
Well, that's the thing, Nick.
Wouldn't trade it for anything except literally any other passport.
I think Nick is actually secretly German. I mean, we've seen him, but for anyone who hasn't seen Nick, I'm just going to start the rumor that he's just a normal German dude, and it's all a bit. Being Greek, Italian, that's the reason he can't pick one. It's like, because he's German and can't decide. His name is like Martin Florian Donker.
My fucking real name is Florian, and I just want to use racial slurs, so I pretend that I'm a Southern European.
No, you're like, but you're not young. You're like 47. You live with your mom in Braunschweig, and you go geocaching. And you pretend to be Italian online.
Exactly, yeah. I'm like the guy of the social media manager for, I think it was like Young Americans for Liberty, who the other day just tweeted out like, I'm seriously black, but then it's like, no, he's just like a fat white dude.
Oh my God, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah,
Yeah, he's definitely not black.
Yeah, definitely not. Everyone was posting pictures of him just doing like stuff.
Him with like a MAGA cape on or some shit like
oh
that.
my God, yeah, he's wearing that fucking cape, like a Trump flag as a cape.
Yeah.
And
That's me, but it's
Italy.
It's me with an Italian flag draped over me, blasting the Silvio Berlusconi election song.
But I do think it is like, it can be productive because there are those white people out there who, for some reason, really want to say slurs and just become Italian and drop all those ones that I've literally never heard before until Nick says them.
How have you never heard them?
Just
Have you
makes
never
them up.
watched a Martin Scorsese movie? They're like everywhere in those movies. They're out.
Wait, can we hear some of these slurs? Can we hear some of them?
Sure, you have like Guinea.
Yeah, can you list them?
Beep.
Okay.
Beep.
I still think you made up Guinea. I've never heard that before.
No, it's not made up. It's real.
All right.
Like, Rob is a special little child. He's the only person on, like, the East Coast of the United States who has never encountered an Italian. It's just...
all we have up here are wasps and Irish people. So
yeah, that's true.
The Irish Americans are like diet Italians, so yeah. They're still Catholic, so there's like kind of something there, but they're all cops, and the Italians like never really. I mean, like there's a few. Don't get me wrong.
Italian cops.
There's Italian cops, of course, but American. It's like, it's that one thing of that. Then in order to allow the Catholics to come into their town, they told the Irish that they have to become police officers. So that's the thing.
that true?
No, that's not true.
I mean, it's
But no, speaking of fake Italians, I think my favorite thing of that actually this week, which is a true thing, obviously, of real fake real Italians.
Oh my God!
Is
yeah, I know what you're referring to.
what was the fucking thing that Andrew Cuomo said?
That
It was that he and Fauci were the Pacino and De Niro of like the COVID crisis.
Yeah.
They're never good at they're never the good guys. They're always like bad. They're always murdering people. I mean, when you're committing 9/11 every single day, maybe like you can't call yourself the Italian Muhammad Atta. So maybe that's like the next closest thing. But
No, you need talent to do 9/11 every day. That takes some skill, I think.
yeah, you have to be a fucking. You have to be.
Andrew Cuomo went on TV and said, Fauci and I, we're Zoolander, old German men with dementia tell us, why don't you shine my shoes? Okay, this is a brotherhood.
I really like the idea of like Mohammedino Atalini. That's just a very powerful. Broke Nick mid-drink, yes.
Don't spit your beer.
No, that took a lot of effort to swallow my beer. I just took it. Mohammedino Atalini.
Atalini, yeah. He's just, a little boy from a small town
No,
in
he's like
Sicily
a
who
Formula
just
One
hates
driver
America.
or some shit. That's what that fucking sounds like.
Yeah, it's actually, it was one of those Formula One ready Lamborghinis, and they're just like a really big off ramp off the coast of Italy, and then straight into the two towers.
I mean, maybe there's some Gladio connections there. We don't know.
There's always Gladio connections.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's all I got. So if you wanna start the episode, Nick, and then we'll take it from there.
Of course. I can lead us in then. Thank you for that. I really appreciated some good.
You're welcome.
Italian and non-Italian crime right there.
That's the best way to break the ice with anybody. Just start, talk about Italians.
Yeah.
Get the slurs flowing early.
Hey, welcome to your weekly Corner Späti. We have the full gang here. It is myself, Nick, joined with Yulia next to me.
Hello.
And via the internet, we have Rob.
Hello, everybody. I'm drinking a Bud Light.
Hell yeah. God, I'm
So
so
American.
fucking jealous of you right now. No joke.
You have a problem with
And-
Berliner Pilsner?
Yeah, Berliner Pilsner is okay, but Bud Light's a vibe. And Kieran.
I was drunk for the first time since turning 30 last night. My bowels are a slip and slide.
Woo!
Yay.
Pour one out for Kieran and his hangover that may never.
Please stop pouring one out for me. I'm very. No one pour anything.
And we got a special guest here, Josh, a.k.a. Willi Muenzenberg on Twitter. And
Thanks for having me.
We're going to talk about... we're not talking about Italians, right? Oh.
We're talking about something else Josh is an expert in. Not Italians, but
Yes.
someone
The
else
state
who
of
is
New
also...
Jersey.
That, some people theoretically think they're not really white. They're not European, but, they're part of the family, which is neoliberals. And people who post on Reddit. Let me introduce this topic real quick. So we will be talking about several things today. The neoliberal subreddit, the neoliberal podcast. We will be talking about
You're listening to it right
dank
now. It's Corner
memes.
Späti.
Well, you joke, but they're coming for us. We are talking about think tanks that are connected to those two and the Clintons and have recently opened a chapter in Berlin. We are talking about, I think an important international community, people who really love Macron and the EU. And most of all, we're talking about it because it's funny and because Josh knows a lot about him. So I don't know. You have anything else to justify this episode, Josh?
No, I think it's an interesting topic. It shows like the evolution of think tanks and how, like how these Reddit nerds have kind of grafted themselves onto this institution. I think it's interesting. It tells us a little bit about posting and politics in a way that's kind of embarrassing, and that'll be fun.
All right. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. I have a little, like I said, Josh is the expert on this. We're going to talk about some of the history of, neoliberalism, third way politics, the UK Labour Party, the Democrats. But just to before we get into all of that and how we got to where we are today, I'm just going to give a little taste to everybody so they know. I think most people know the neoliberal subreddit and they've seen their dog shit post on Twitter. For those who don't know, all right.
I
Here's
have a
taste.
question. Are these
haven't even
aren't
started
real,
class
are
yet.
they? No, I know that. Professor,
Oh my God, is this?
these are real pages, right? Because I I see these here and there, and I think that they're shit posts and they're funny, but they are serious, are they not?
Most of their
the
memes
ones
do
that-
look like fake memes that someone made, but they're real.
Okay.
I mean, you can say some of it's astroturfing, a lot of it's astroturfing, but there's also 104,000 subscribers to their Reddit. You can't buy 104,000 posters.
My experience with this, and I'm gonna put my thesis straight out the gate here, which is I have some experience with the Reddit of neoliberal, and it seems mostly like Chapo resentment, because it seems like a lot of them are driven by spite of the fact that they've gotten owned by someone on Reddit who came from the Chapo subreddit back before it was exploded.
I too hate being owned on Twitter by some guy named Lennon Cum Daddy or something like that. So I can understand their strife.
Absolutely, there's a dark background story to all of these posters who have brought them into this. They were just going around on the internet and they found a community which turns their worst aspects, personality traits into something positive. Okay.
I mean, most of my experience was they would make a comment about how a center-left politician is really good, and then someone from Chapo would call the N-word bot, which was a bot on Reddit that would search your entire comment history for how many times you've said the N-word and how many times there was a hard R attached to it, and then post it underneath, and they would always have at least one.
Ooh, oh, come on, neoliberals. The N-word they're talking about is not neoliberalism, right?
No, no, it's not.
Well, here's maybe that's them on a bad day. Maybe they were just really they were really mad about fucking too much regulation or something. Or I don't know. I guess they kind of like regulation. They were mad about populism, and they had a heated anti-populism moment. But when they're happy, they're just really happy, like this one. So this is from the Splinter News. The sad saps of the neoliberal Reddit trying to make globalism cool again. It's from back in 2017. All right. First line, quote, "If this post gets 10,000 upvotes, I'll get Mutti tattooed on my ass," announced Reddit
God.
user ErgFU in June, linking to a portrait of Angela Merkel. I'll have you all know, in the Reddit neoliberal parlance, there was no bamboozle. There is a photo of him getting Angela Merkel tattooed on his butt.
Seriously?
But it's
Yeah.
Angela Merkel with the
Which picture?
The damn shall be okay.
I'll be linking the picture in the chat. In the our neoliberal subreddit, Mutti, the German word for mother, has emerged as an affectionate shorthand for the embattled chancellor, a European centrist.
Gross.
To be clear, a lot of people call her Mutti, and it is always low key.
Didn't the Germans?
It's
Don't
always
the Germans love Freudian analysis? How are they not picking up on this?
Here's a little. So it says that this is kind of excess that gives our neoliberal its character. The butt tattoo is the most horrific and high effort example, but as always, shitposting contains multitudes. In a single week alone, you'll find a repurposed Tyler the Creator tweet decrying rent control, a SpongeBob meme translating the established market's dread as Bitcoin spikes in value, a haughty webcomic comparing kids getting seduced by socialism to moths buzzing towards a kill lamp, and a starter pack for anarcho-capitalist goons. That's any of those memes sound cool to you guys?
No.
I want to know what
Why can't they-
Tyler the Creator's opinion on rent control is.
It's a real stretch with to turn that meme into something about rent control. Gotta say,
Wait,
2 out of
What were
10,
you saying,
not a
Yulia?
good meme. So I'll share a few more memes, but I do want to get into some of the history because I don't this is all tempting to just talk about this for an hour straight. But I do think the history is quite clarifying and what these 100,000 posters, how they got to this stage. I will share a couple more. neoliberal, and this is making fun of, quote, Howard Zinn reading teenagers who bemoan the shortcomings of the American healthcare system and the federal minimum wage. For example, and again, these are neoliberal memes, Mr. Krabs losing his mind over the anniversary of Castro's death, or Karl Marx wiping the sweat from his brow as he stares down at two buttons. One labeled, capitalism doesn't work because people are selfish. The other, people will work for the common good in a socialist society.
Wait, these are like people who just like clearly have never read a book then, because
Yeah.
Marx talks about how capitalism does work.
Well, I see. I've already triggered the tankies. That's their favorite word.
I mean, but that's like the thing about a good meme is that it makes sense. That
Yeah.
just is like just not correct.
that's where you're wrong, Nick. A good meme makes people you don't like mad.
But I'm not
Yeah,
mad.
Rob's
I
right.
just feel
just
bad.
shaking.
Hold on. We have a "Is he mad?" bot in this Reddit exclamation point. Is he mad? Results
I'm
show
not
that Nick has been
mad,
mad 70,000 times.
Yeah.
The important thing, Nick, is the more you say I'm not mad, the madder you sound.
Yeah, that's true.
Yo, what the fuck, bro? I'm not pissed, bro. Read fucking Marx, bro.
Okay, Josh, please save us. I want to get some history. I want to before Nick gets out of hand. So we have this.
Transform into a T-34 and just bust through my apartment.
We have the Reddit, okay, and people might know there's a Twitter account that goes along with the Reddit. There's a website called the Neoliberal Project that goes with the Reddit. But there's also something called the PPI. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Sure. So basically, just to give some context, the Neoliberal Project got founded by those Reddit guys in like 2017, 2018, basically, and only this year they affiliated with the PPI. Now, what is the PPI? PPI was like an organization back from the 80s that was established as part of like the Clinton Project, basically. It had the goal of shifting like the political philosophy of the Democratic Party rightwards. So it was founded by this guy called Will Marshall, and it was affiliated with the Democratic Leadership Council, founded by Al Frum and Gillis Long, and a bunch of like Southern Democratic figures who wanted to basically keep the party on the right and kind of accommodate it to the Reagan Revolution, basically. So the PPI was modeled basically on the Heritage Foundation, and its goal basically was to be the Heritage Foundation for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, so just there's connections to Third Way too, right? And I will have people know that the new, I don't even know if he's the chief of staff, but Joe Biden's new something, I think he might be chief of staff, Ron Klein, was a former Third Way member. And I'm jumping ahead a bit, but there's an AMA with I guess the guy who runs the Neoliberal podcast, quite proudly saying that we work closely with New Democrats and Blue Dogs in Congress. So even though this might seem like some grassroots shit posting, as the kids say, there's a lot of tendrils going in every direction here.
Exactly. Yeah. Basically, it's like an adaptation of like the think tank form. The model worked in like the 90s. Basically, the goal was to get like policy like discussed at elite levels, and now this new affiliation with the Neoliberal Project has the goal of kind of establishing an online presence for the organization, and like getting these centrists active online and kind of forming an online community to mirror or at least contest some of the like left-wing stuff that's online, basically.
All right.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
yeah.
but like these guys basically invented, or the subreddit invented, like globe Twitter, like the globe emoji, the one that's like the 3D sphere, basically wireframe sphere, that's used to indicate that you are a neoliberal.
Yeah, that's the one, basically.
Again, to jump ahead, but Kieran, you are the expert on this. Can you tell us all the different emojis about this? Because there is a pretty broad.
Yeah.
While globe, I would say, is a quintessential neoliberal emoji. Some people do claim to be suck dem. Some people claim to be ANCAP.
Yeah.
Can you share us some emojis? This is like when you see, like, when parents are told, like, look out for these slang words. I mean, your children are going to do drugs, and they're like, LOL. Please tell us the emojis that we should be looking out for that are corrupting our children.
So the one that I think pisses me off the most is probably sock emoji Twitter.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just a shit emoji, just two.
Yeah, it
not even good
the
socks.
two sucks.
No, they're terrible socks.
I only
But,
know
like,
one
the idea-
socks, and it's the Boston Red Sox.
So,
Thank you,
like,
Nick.
I think the reason why I dislike the sock emoji Twitter one the most, because again, it is also a product of like the neoliberal subreddit. They started using it there first before they started using it on Twitter, if I remember correctly. And the reason why it sucks so hard is because they obviously have no understanding of, one, their own political movement, because, like, neoliberalism basically destroyed anything that we would call social democracy. The sock is meant to indicate that you are a sock dem, a social democrat, which is a word they use to describe a purportedly left-wing neoliberal. Like, they idolize Tony Blair and Bill Clinton. That's what they think a sock dem is, which is a supposedly left-wing neoliberal.
That's disgusting.
It sucks.
I hate
it
this.
sucks so much. But it also just shows them off for being such fucking idiots, because, like, if you were a proud neoliberal, you would be proud of the fact that you destroyed social democracy. Like, that's
like
what you
not
did.
not like really like relishing the power they have and just going off dog shit memes is a recurring theme in this episode that I want to return to later. But Josh, let me go back to you. So what is the funding situation here? Because they're not just like you're throwing out some like big names here when you talk about the Clintons. I know they're kind of a punchline now, but they were like running shit in the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. Clinton was actually president of the DLC.
He was actually president of the United States. Not bad.
Yeah, and they helped him get there. Basically, they offered him a platform for his campaign. They offered him funding, and that funding in turn came from like corporations like Philip Morris. The Koch brothers provided money for the Democratic Leadership Council and the PPI.
I've heard of that.
And more recently, they've been funded by Exxon. There's an article in The Intercept you can read about that. So basically, this posting that you see, all these dog shit memes, it's like trickle down from that good like think tank cash.
All right. So when is there not to ask a leading question, but is there like how did it get to this with the posting? Because they didn't always have. I mean, there wasn't always the internet, but how did this go from like Tony Blair and Bill Clinton like ruling the world to these people being like, well, these I don't know, these ANCAPs online will like post about things that we want them to post about. So that's pretty good, I guess. Like, is there a broad outline you can give us?
Yeah, the broad outline would be that there's the recognition that you can't cede the online sphere completely in terms of politics. It's an effective place for mobilizing, at least to a certain degree. I mean, it's obviously not everything, but one of the things that got talked about in an episode of the Neoliberal podcast that I listened to for this, between Colin Mortimer and Will Marshall. This is what I put myself through for this.
Yeah, lest you think Josh is not an expert. Okay? He's a historian. This is called archival research.
Absolutely. Basically what Colin says is that, he's impressed by the way that online communities formed and kind of contributed to the Occupy movement. Basically, he says, online communities and the identities that formed online were essential for that, and that sphere can't be ceded, and centrists basically need to establish a presence and kind of mirror that type of mobilizing.
Yeah, but even the way you said it, like you cannot see the online space, gets at what I think Kieran brought up before, which is that it's always a response to some other mover on the online sphere. So there are these like bad populists out there, these Howard Zinn reading teenagers seduced by something, and that they're like always responding to some ongoing, I don't know, bad movement out there. And this dovetails perfectly with the Reddit mindset of always just like, I don't know, complaining about other posters or something else going on out there and using like the same 5 jokes to like complain about it.
Definitely.
Are there any other key people you want to shout out here? You mentioned Will Marshall. He seems to be, and you mentioned Colin Mortimer. As I know, Colin Mortimer is a little more on the ground. He was working with the Neoliberal project or podcast. Will Marshall is like more of a like Democratic Party, PPI. I mean, he founded the PPI, right? But he's more of like an inside DC head, it seems to me.
Yeah, he's a real lanyard. He's been there forever. Basically, he was a policy guy for Gillis Long in like the 1980s. And yeah, he's been in Washington forever, basically. Colin Mortimer, I mean, I don't know too much about the guy. I know he's like a fresh graduate, basically, from like Connecticut and, you know, trying to establish himself in Washington. But yeah.
Well, I can share a little bit about him from the AMA he gave on the Our Neoliberal subreddit. Just a few quick hits. They asked who was the most famous person he met. It was Tony Blair. They asked who did you like most in the Democratic primaries? It was Beto. And the question to who was your fursona? He said Ben Bernanke. So,
God, these people are such fucking nerds. Oh my god.
I would like to say to the Ben Bernanke answer, there were multiple comments of this guy memes or this guy fucks. So yeah, Reddit culture, baby. You got.
Yeah, I would have picked Janet Yellen myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm more of a Mario Draghi guy, maybe.
The fact.
I mean,
that
keeping it in the family.
Hey, Mario Draghi fucks, obviously. No, but I mean, like the thing of the matter. Yeah, I mean, I mean, like, okay, I only know who Ben Bernanke is because of like studying economics. Like, you're a loser if you know who he is. Like, and you like respect him.
Just insulted yourself.
I did insult myself. I mean, like, if you know of him outside of like, if you know of him and you like know anything about him other than like his name, you're just a loser. Like,
His favorite color?
no, I mean the fact like I don't care about who's the head of the Federal Reserve. Like, just to be completely honest, like it's nerd shit. God, I hate this. Except for Mario Draghi because he fucks.
He's a paisan, yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking paisan like me, you know. But
well, there is a constant project of the neoliberal like supposed online memery to like make a bunch of people who are just so transparently uncool cool.
Yeah, Ben Bernanke is just like a
Sounds like
60-year-old dude who has no hair on his head and clearly just like just
But
he's just there. Like, I don't know. I can't fucking say anything else about him.
Well,
you can get Ben Bernanke T-shirts from the neoliberal like shop.
we're gonna talk about the
picture
shop.
of his face. Yeah. We'll get to the shop later, I guess. But like, yeah, it's just a lot of people who.
Do they have to like him?
It's such denial.
Do they have to like him just because like no one can like Alan Greenspan anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
I will say Alan Greenspan is an available flare on the Our Neoliberal subreddit. So
Okay.
Yeah.
But this gets at like one of like I do think that they're just like not ambitious enough. Like, okay, as you said,
they aren't. They picked the most
huge-
boring fucking
huge nerd shit.
mayonnaise ass people to like.
and maybe I don't know,
Fuck off.
maybe the third way Democrats aren't all they used to be. Maybe all the like gritty avatars are right. Like you're wrong. Like your day is over. But like it reminds me of that scene in The Matrix with Cypher and Agent Smith where he's eating the steak. But it's like all he's asking for to like go back in The Matrix is like, can I get 10,000 upvotes on a post? He's like smacking his lips, like smelling the wine, being like, I want to be someone important, like a moderator of a dank subreddit. And that's all they ask for. Like, these people ran the world. Like, you could be so much more. And case in point, like, if they were really about that hardcore memeing shit, they would make Jeffrey Epstein memes. They would have Jeffrey Epstein flair in their subreddit because that is that is the like nexus of power around Bill Clinton and Tony Blair. And they're just like, no, but I just want to be the nerdy guy in the corner. I'm okay with that. I don't have to be Jeffrey Epstein.
I will say though that then the only neoliberal that I can like actually like tip my hat to, and yes, it is a fedora, is my man, and maybe Yulia can probably back me up on this too because this is her country. But the only neoliberal worth respecting is Gerhard Schröder. That is it. There is no one else.
Talk about the Terminator.
Because he is close with
A killer.
Berlusconi and Putin and has a very young, attractive wife.
Exactly. Like
he's chasing that bag.
Who just fucking slays.
I know.
Maybe Berlusconi,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't. Maybe he's like too populist for them. But Gerhard Schröder is like weirdly still respected by every neoliberal, but
That's
he's
crazy.
like living a cool life.
Oh, he is, yeah.
Like,
He's in a fucking yard with his like, hot wife. And,
yeah, and just
and a
living his
fucking
life as the most
gun
German
or
fucking
something.
dude on the face of the earth. Like, I love it. He's so cool, but also really
But
bad.
this is the thing, like why, like going back to why they won't have the like Jeffrey Epstein flair on the subreddit is because it's so transparently like top down because it's a bunch of like hand wringing teachers.
Can I get
Kinda
can I get Jeffrey Epstein flair done in like the POW MIA fucking like flag?
But it's like they don't want they want to be respected. Like this is obviously a realization that politics has slightly changed. We can't do just the top-down managerial politics that we used to do in the 90s anymore. We have to have like at least a facade of there is some groundswell that supports us, kind of thing to it now. But like they also don't want. They are ashamed of what based neoliberal is. Because base neoliberal would be like, yeah, Jeffrey Epstein organized everything. Fuck you. Like, that would be, like, base neoliberal. But the neoliberals actually in charge of this are like, no, don't bring that up.
Well, of course the rules will work. People just haven't done the rules enough.
It's like when...
This
like
is why Gerhard Schröder is the best, though, because he lives like one foot in, 1 foot out. Gerhard Schröder, not in like the Epstein stuff, if I'm not mistaken, but also like... likes younger women, and like and hangs out with Vladimir Putin and kind of like lives this bad boy neoliberal lifestyle, all while like still being very much like he's like the head of like Gazprom for fucking like,
yeah, he's working with
he's not the head of it, but yeah.
No, but he's working with
You could even
like
say that this guy
council
fucks.
position or something. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm doing an upvote for Gerhard Schröder, please. If this is a Reddit-based community, just saying.
That's what you should get tattooed on your ass.
I would get Gerhard Schröder tattooed on my ass if I was a neoliberal.
I already have that, actually.
Next to it.
So, we've been talking a lot about the poster side of things, but there are two parties to this kind of like, I don't know, shotgun marriage of like attempted political relevancy. And Josh, like, what do you think does this bode well for the third way Democrats? Like, do you think this will be effective? Do you think that this is like kind of like a how do you do, fellow kids, like desperate attempt to stay relevant? Or I will say they were not banned along with Our Chapo Trap House and Are the Donalds, so they got something going, for them.
I think it's a recognition that, you need to have like a community identity, and you need to, have people talking online, and that helps people mobilize in the real world ultimately. But also, this is like the best they have to offer. That's something that's reassuring here. Like the best they have to offer are these Reddit memes. And yeah, it's not very impressive, is it?
So we should get into this new strategy, because as you said, the whole shift is that, okay, you have to fight the online wars, basically. Like, this is very important, and it's very, you can shift the discourse, and this is, life or death battle. And so you mentioned that this year they formally linked up. I do think there's like a weird, I'm sure there's like, I don't know, some connections that went on in some degree, whether it's just informal talks or some people being like, hey, we got this thing going here online, and one fed the other. But can you talk about so we've talked a little bit about the PPI, its connections to, I would say inside the Beltway, democratic politics. Then what is the formal neoliberal project that's kind of running the subreddit and Twitter and everything else? And I hear they have a conspectus.
Okay, yeah. So the quote in the conspectus is about how online isn't real life. And just for the conspectus, basically, that's the document that kind of outlines the marriage between PPI and the neoliberal project, kind of like the prenup, you might call it. Basically, what it says is that, these online debates need to be contested, and, we need to support these, we need to establish a presence online in the discourse. It counts. It's not real life, but that's becoming increasingly untrue. So the online sphere matters, and and it's a critical way to like mobilize for actual activity in the real world. And that's the other part of this project, basically. So they've got these accounts online, whatever, but they have also established chapters in cities throughout the US, throughout Canada, and in Europe. In Berlin, there's one, for instance, Stockholm, London. And the idea there is to have, a group of people that can mobilize and establish a presence in political debates in the city and out in the real world. At least that's the theory. I mean, whether any of this is effective or not, that's another question. But at least it's a recognition of the fact that, online debates are not irrelevant entirely.
I do think it's funny that there's these people who clearly just post all the time and like on Reddit are like, you know what? Actually, this is really important and this is going to change the world. And it actually is real life. And it's great because they got the bag. People are paying them to do that. So like, I got to respect it.
I respect the grind.
Never back down.
There's there is a I looked this up. There is an Irish chapter of this
hell yeah.
neoliberal project. It's got like 69 followers
Hey,
on Twitter. Yeah, so they're doing fucking great. Like this is Ireland we're talking about, the neoliberal golden child, and they still can't like get anyone on board with this.
Well, I mean,
They're already winning.
Exactly. If neoliberalism is just complaining about populism, then there's nothing to complain about. Yeah, dude, they really are just posters. I mean, like, people make fun of, like, whatever, the gritty left was like, but, like, if you've ever read, and Josh, I'm sure you can speak to this, like, we're talking about in the abstract, literally open any, like, neoliberal Twitter thread. It is just getting mad at every conceivable post they can find, like, digging up posts and sending them, like, when people who want to, like, get in and get some clout, they'll, like, DM the, like, neoliberal Twitter account being like, look at this person who said something bad. Don't you hate it? But then their only response is just doing the, like, wow, that's going to be a yikes, or, like, WTF, I love NIMBYism now, or, like, the SpongeBob.
Bad look. Yeah, not a good look.
Like, reconsider this. The SpongeBob where he's, like, doing the chicken, different capital lowercase. It's just like nothing original. It's the same old grind.
Hey, don't
just
you
like
make
with
fun
a new
of
coat
any
of
of the
paint.
SpongeBob memes. Those ones are all gold, all right? Those are perfect. Just because they've been used by evil doesn't mean that they're bad, okay?
I do think that like so much of this, I told Josh this before, but like the neoliberal is like the most quintessentially Reddit political online community. Like, and Reddit does do that to like kind of everything, like the style, like God, like Lord knows Twitter has its own like incentive structures that makes like its own like very just bad outcomes. But something about Reddit is just the right like cocktail of like being smug and thinking you're smart and like being a fan of something. So like it's a Reddit for something. Like it's so like you're just like all these posters like stocked in like in a koi pond, and like whatever the person you like does is epic. So like, oh, Ben Bernanke was being epic today, or like, oh, Emmanuel Macron, like I'm gonna post a sick meme of him, like, and it's just like there's no way out. Like that's the only they're like the rats in the cage, and there's only one button. Like that's the only thing you can hit. Like,
I would disagree that the only online thing of that who's maybe worse, but they're much smaller in number, are the maybe you mentioned them briefly. I don't know if they're related in any way, but like are the like ANCAPs on like they're
well they're part of the tent.
Are they
really? That's the thing. Yeah, well, that's the thing about neoliberal. I don't know if any of you want to weigh in, but
They're
like
idiots. They included sock dems. Like
exactly. So it goes. But this is what's so perfect about it,
because
because
are the ones that only exist online and don't actually exist in the real world, and they'll just be like, "Oh, Murray Rothbard is fucking, just throwing shade at black people." I love it.
the neoliberal idea is like a pretty broad tent. Like, and I think it can run from like progressive, enlightened technocrat like Elizabeth Warren, to someone who's like, a little bit of ANCAPism, who posts the memes, but like, they're reasonable and they want to engage in some
They're a
electoral
fucking
project.
nerd who calls himself like a minarchist or some shit like that. Like,
And that is basically that is basically the Democratic Party.
Oh,
like
you don't know what minarchism is? Fucking loser. It's like the step right before anarcho-capitalism.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
Yulia, it doesn't matter. Don't learn it. It will make you a virgin again. Somehow,
Yeah, literally.
you learn this fact.
Literally everyone who identifies as a minarchist is an incel. Like,
Yay.
it just is.
Oh, enjoy.
Oh, they should have an incel flair.
Yeah.
Now they'd be getting somewhere. No, all I was trying to say is that, like,
because women love the state.
I mean, it's because, they just, all girls are trying to be socialist to impress guys, and they can't respect, like, good, sensible global governance. I've been saying it. No, I just want to say the neoliberal tent, it might seem, like, kind of broad, but basically it is the exact same range as the, like, Clintonian, like, model of the Democratic Party, and that applies to the UK Labour Party and basically anyone who's going for this third way, where anyone from Elizabeth Warren, like, no matter what they say, if they're like basically no, but I'm still part of the party, all the way over to like, ooh, I dabble in a little ANCAPism, but I'm working with the Democrats. Stacey Abrams, she said one of her favorite books was Atlas Shrugged. Like, this is the spectrum that can cohere into the Third Way Project.
I mean, it's a good book.
It kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it fits the narrative of neoliberalism not being an ideology, but just being good economics.
It's a vibe.
So, yeah, it's a vibe.
Yeah.
So it kind of fits this old like narrative that when they did it in the 90s,
back then,
was kind of like reproduced in that sense. So I mean, if you're SOCDEM or if you're ANCAP, it doesn't matter because you're doing nice economics.
I mean, like, yeah, it is that like big tent bullshit stuff.
Yeah,
the thing that I love though
because
about
it clearly
that,
is an ideology.
the thing that I love about the fucking Stacey Abrams thing is that you can like just obviously tell that that's one of like the last books that she read like in high school.
Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, and it's just like you're like told by your teacher to like that book, even though it's like Ayn Rand cannot write. Like I tried to read Atlas Shrugged simply out of just like, what is this about? Why do people like it?
Same.
And like she is like J.K. Rowling is a better author than Ayn Rand. And I mean, if you've read the first Harry Potter book, it is horrible. Like, she could not write, given later ones or whatever. But Ayn Rand literally spends 1,000 pages to talk about trains and how Mexico is a socialist country.
I'm going to have to fact check you here, Nick. I agree with your point, but Stacey Abrams clearly has read a lot of books because she, before she was a politician, she wrote 7 romantic suspense novels under the pen name Selena Montgomery.
You can write books and not read a book. Like,
so she respects, the kind
So
of
she
like
was just
well-written dynamism
Yeah, exactly.
of
It's just horny. Like,
yeah, she clearly just wanted to fuck. Yeah. So you don't have like she literally picked the genre where then all you have to do is just like write as detailed as you possibly can about sex, which does not take any
about
effort.
someone's pulsating penis or something.
I'm trying
Atlas shrugged his rippling shoulders.
I'm trying to be the Ayn Rand of sex, just I'm just right about the thing. I
Writing
write
about
what
That's
you
a
know.
Twitter
is what I'm
handle.
saying.
That's a Twitter handle. The Ayn Rand of sex.
I'm changing it. Doing it right now.
Yes.
To Yulia's point, though, that I find very interesting, which is, doesn't this feel like the jig is up, though? Because you're right that like neoliberalism kind of survived by being the ideology that wasn't the ideology. Mm-hmm. But now the neoliberal project comes along and says, okay, the jig is up. We have to actually come out and identify ourselves as capital N labeled neoliberals.
Yeah.
Because like this was the same shit that happened with like capitalism when it started, and a bunch of French intellectuals were like, this sucks, fuck this sucks, and they started calling them capitalists. It was like, no, it's just human nature. We don't have an ideology, it's just good business or whatever. And then like flash forward 30 50 years later, like, yeah, we're capitalists.
Maybe. I mean, that is actually, it is a good strategy if you look at people right now. If you look at people on Twitter, where you kind of like use a lot of identity politics with your name in that sense as well, like identifying with an ideology, putting an emoji in your name, etc., etc. So maybe that's just the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about it too is I think that then just the emoji thing is because, like, I see this now in German Twitter a lot too, that it is this just, I mean, it's like a way to find your friends, right? You know, like
you just use an Israel flag.
You use an Israeli flag with a yellow heart, and I know that you're awful.
Yes,
I know that you're
definitely
fucking
a Yuli.
garbage. Yeah, you're a fucking Yuli piece of shit, and I'm going to shit on you, like figuratively and maybe literally if I ever meet you. But I think that it's just the search for, I mean, because these people just seem like lanyard nerds who go about their lives like kind of just in this bubble of politics that's never actually challenged. Like you can go about university as a liberal pretty much never actually like having like to defend an opinion, you know, like everything just kind of like on a silver platter for you. You end up getting a good job in Washington or like working for a fucking congressman like a psychopath. But I think that then like that isn't enough though for a lot of these people. You know, it is like a sense of that there isn't like that seems draining. And if you have like Donut Twitter, who is toxic as shit, or Sock Twitter, or whatever Reddit, you know, r/Gerhard Schröder that you're a fucking part of, like
you have should exist.
My favorite new one is the Holy Sea Flag Twitter, like Tradcast Twitter.
Hey, yo.
They're the best.
I gotta say though,
real Italian shit right there. We're not talking about that, but I mean, like it is. I do think that maybe just part of that comes in the sense of that. I think there's like a legitimate grind that these people do, and that it is. The reality of it is that then like it's kind of lonely, and the internet of these emoji things is like something that you can like have friends with, because that is the way that it is for a lot of leftists. I mean that that entirely seriously of that.
Yeah.
Just a lonely neoliberal.
No, but I mean leftists
friends.
too are just also lonely, depressed people, where then it's like your politics are kind of weird.
Yeah, of course.
And the online community of the left is like also kind of shit. Like let's just be realistic here. It's just politics are good.
I can rephrase that. It's not that your politics are weird. You care too much about politics, any kind, and you're fucking weird.
Like you're a nerd for
Well, you
politics,
can just
which is lame.
be horny on Twitter.
Exactly.
That is
be
what
horny
it's-
on Twitter. Be normal.
Every German poster has it figured out. I have
Oh
to
my
say,
god! That's so weird. Like what is it? Oh my god! I don't know.
You do know, Yulia.
Fuck!
The,
I forgot it. But yeah,
But like,
they have like
but this is
days
also a
for
part
boobs
of
and
it.
shit. So yeah, sorry.
Like the various political emoji things is also a part of being horny on Twitter, because I don't know. I remember. I think it was like 2014. I think I found no, it wasn't 2014. It was like God. It was 2016, the year everything happened. Yeah, it was when I found out that like people
Cubs won the World Series. What else happened that year?
No. The people use like other social media, like use basic social media apps like Instagram and Twitter for like dating and finding people to fuck. That blew my mind when I first heard about this. But I was like, wait, how does that? Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, you just like, okay, yeah, if you have an Instagram account that's only just like pictures of you at the gym, and then someone slides into your DM, we know what's up. But like,
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
but it is also like. But like the emoji thing definitely has to be a part of that too. Of just like, I don't want to date someone who has garbage politics. I want them to have the same politics I do. Oh look, there's the emoji, cool, and she's kind of caught. Like yeah, I've heard people who use Twitter as a dating site. I'm like, how do you do that? How would anyone look at my Twitter account and be like, yes, suitable mate? I like how he talks about the Goofy movie for a like 20 tweet thread.
all this, if we're talking about how what is signaled with the emoji, I respect the donut emoji because I would say that's like K-Hive because they're just
The donut
like,
emoji is actual cyberbullying. I do not
exactly, they're
respect it.
crazy.
It's horrible.
No, I respect them because they're
But that's your
crazy
kink.
and they're dedicated to it. And I do think the SOCDEM and the neoliberals to some extent, I think they're either 15-year-olds who post on Reddit, or they're like yuppie young professionals who have a job and graduated college who posted on Reddit when they were 15. And it's just sort of like, I know it's lonely. Like, I know if you work an office job, it's not like your life is great, but like, they just don't have the same like desperation that I respect in like a donut emoji. That's like clearly someone who like, I don't know, is like just home all day. Maybe they collect disability or something. And they're just like, I'm just going to go fucking nuts on Twitter all day.
There's just no. My favorite poster, my favorite neoliberal poster is a neoliberal poster who does not realize that they are a neoliberal poster, and that is the foot soldiers that are just zanned out wine moms. They don't even know that they're a cog in this machine, and they all get fucking drunk as shit, and they tweet in AAVE, and that is that. I salute your fucking just putting yourself out on the line like that.
If no one has any like political commentary about like the history of neoliberalism and what comes next, I just have some funny stuff from the Reddit and store to share with you guys.
Yes, please.
Okay, like we all know I'm an idiot. I don't have anything to say about neoliberalism. Come on.
Oh, I forgot,
it sucks.
I forgot to send the photo of the tattoo photo, which is going in the chat. Right.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh
Please, I
no!
want to see
it
it.
is.
I really want to see it.
Well, now I'm not going to say anything because you're all going to be
Wait.
distracted.
Is that a butt?
Scroll down.
Damn, Sean.
No, what you mean?
Damn,
I hate
Shawty,
that's so
okay.
ominous.
Ooh,
Oh
that's
my
bad.
god,
This is
that's
a bad
not even a good tattoo. Yeah.
Why?
It's so
why
not
does she
loading
look
for me,
like
yes.
she fucking didn't sleep for
Oh.
weeks?
Why does Angela
She looks like a
Merkel
vampire. She looks like she's in Mandy.
Angela Merkel looks like just like a forgotten member of Mayhem who didn't kill like the other person.
She does.
Angela
That
Merkel's
sucks.
actually Euronymous, but we just like don't want to talk.
I gotta say that I know I just dissed their like dedication, but that does take some degree of dedication.
It does, yeah. I got a lesser
gotta respect
known
it.
Sith Lord attached to my fucking butt. Like, what the fuck?
Disney Plus just announced they will have a multi-season arc.
We're fucking gonna get a
Muchi.
cease and desist for fucking Disney now.
Oh, god damn it.
Darth Merkel fucking anthology that we're getting in like 2023.
Here's a couple hits. They're not like the biggest threads. I was just scrolling through and was reading the first threads that came to mind. This is an old one, a tribute to Theresa May, of how great she is. It's 1 year ago.
Shit.
Saying,
You know what?
She
You know
will-
what? To their like credit to them, like yeah, like not you cannot do worse than Boris Johnson.
It's funny, actually. I want to say this 1 year anniversary tomorrow of the UK election when we said like, hey, we're gonna give this social democratic electoralism thing a chance. We'll see how it turns out.
Man, I was feeling good that day, and it's been like downhill since.
Oh yeah.
I still
Well, they were
remember
feeling
that-
good too.
I still remember that clip that Milo sent me of him on BBC Radio, just not having a good time.
Oh, yeah, of him, like, on the night.
Yeah. That was fucking
Here's-
depressing.
Here's an example of so this is from a year plus ago. So I guess Theresa May was still a PM. Proudly declaring that Theresa May will go down as the greatest PM of our generation. Infiltrated a pro-Brexit
You only
government
have like
and strung
two
them
who
along
are
for
in
2
power
years.
long enough to like actually be like. I mean, you have David Cameron and Tony Blair, David Cameron, and Theresa May. That's it. Like
Called the bluffs of those who want to mount a leadership challenge. Is successfully playing chicken with the DUP. famous last words. What are you going to do, stab me?
Man who was stabbed.
This one's great. Put Bojo, Preeti et al. At center stage so that they could alienate even more of their most gullible of potential supporters. It turned out great.
Oh, my God.
And where is Boris
yes.
Johnson today? He's dead.
Where even is he?
Yeah.
Dead. Gone.
Dead.
R.I.P. And again, all those comments are, thank you, Teresa. Very cool.
Very cool.
And I mean, everyone
'cause all
does
of
it.
this is
Everyone
just-
does it to some degree. Like, but they love to like the 8-degree or the 8-dimensional chess that they think the leaders play in order to justify the ideology that no, someone's really out there, like steering this ship, or there is even a fucking wheel to steer. It's not just doesn't snap off comically, and you're like, oh, you all stare at each
I
other
gotta
because
say-
you don't know what's going to happen next. At least
gotta
they commit
say-
to the bit.
I gotta say, being a neoliberal actually seems cool.
What?
Like, I'm kind of convinced now because you actually get to like wield power like all the time.
No,
And-
you can't be cool and in power. You have to pretend.
No, but
that
exactly. No,
you have to have
exactly.
dog
Is
shit memes.
No, but no, just let me finish my statement. Is that
Excuse me.
the thing that then kind of sucks about the left is that you don't have a moment of like actually. I mean, yeah, you have to like look at like, you know, I don't know, like the handful of countries that have left-wing governments and like kind of cheer them on. But
What's wrong with that? We're a pro-China podcast.
no, but I mean, but you know, it really does come down to like it's not like fun. Like I just think that then like another coup is gonna come and take out Evo Morales or that like whatever else is going. I mean, like, you know, no one wants to talk about is or is not North Korea left. Like it kind of sucks. Like. It just isn't fun. Like I'm gonna just be honest here. Like it is a lot of emotional work being a leftist, just looking at the world and be like, damn, this is all shit. This is fucking garbage, and this is just getting worse. But a neoliberal, you can look at this and be like, yes, Queen, Joe Biden just became the person of the year, slay, and then like 1,000 clapbacks. Like. I want to like win for once. I get it. Like you don't have to do any fucking effort. It's just like given to you on a silver platter, and you just have to like retweet it, and then maybe like someone like Yasha Monk or whatever who like researches something that doesn't exist.
Forgot about Yasha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's an example of the kind of post
parents of neoliberalism, my guy.
you could make, Nick. Here's this one. Most neoliberal European monarchs. We got some love for
cool.
Frederick the Great, Peter the Great. You know, people are talking about how all the good, like, you know, drainage and canal systems they built. Unironically, King Albert the First of
Peter
Belgium.
the Great was drain gang. No one wants to talk about it.
All right, we have to move on to if you've listened to this whole episode and you haven't looked at any of the stuff we're talking about. If you look at one thing to capture the neoliberal project.
You know, I realize these
essence.
people are just all going to end up becoming like history dads.
Yeah,
elaborate.
like dad history shit.
Yeah. No, just like in the sense that they only care about then like those who are in power, and they'll give you the thing about like, you know, yeah, like exactly what you just said about like, is Peter the Great drain gang or not? You know, like it's just you know shit like that. It's like dad history stuff is just the next step of that, of like where they just give you like Nazi apologia because like Volkswagen came about in the 1930s or whatever, you know? It isn't too far off, actually.
I see what you mean. But it does make sense to some degree. Like if you accept the priors that like you as you can't change anything, then like the people who rise to the top, you don't understand why they're at the top. Just
Exactly.
might as well narrativize it. Be like, okay,
be just like
they must have been. They must have had swag.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess they.
swag. Joe.
But
Biden.
then what's sad about it is again they can't have the cool swag of like, you know, I'm Gerhard Schröder. Instead, they have stickers like taco trucks on every corner. You can buy that sticker for $5. From the
I need to ask
Project
about
store.
this. What does this taco truck mean?
This is perfect
Yeah.
because they're all fucking yuppies. They're just people who work in probably finance. Actually, I saw a thread where because I was thinking like developers or something, but like finance works perfectly because that's
Developers
why
are white
they
supremacists.
meme about Ben Bernanke, and they're just like they're clearly not at the top of like they have to believe in the system enough that they do their job there, and then they just are like, well, I'm not at the top. But you know, I wear like I go into the big shiny building and I go to a taco truck for lunch and like things are working great. And you can and they spend $5 because they have disposable income to buy dumb
this
stickers.
is the thing though, is that you could like, you know, you could be boring like that, or you could like the fucking the Brioni Bundeskanzler and think that Gerhard Schröder is cool. Like they're missing out, is what I'm saying.
So the problem is, Nick, I'm kind of in agreement with you that I would also like to be just like mind off, happy all the time, zanned out, neoliberal. Because the other thing that's being like implied here is we'd be rich.
Exactly.
That's how you arrive at these politics. We'd be comfortable and rich.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. I want that. I have a kid.
Subscribe to the Patreon, folks, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Subscribe to the Patreon. Feed my child.
They have a Macron sticker, of course, money printer sticker. They have a NAFTA sticker. That's pretty cool.
Wait, money
hell.
printer sticker. That's not very
Money
neoliberal.
machine. It's,
That's the-
Oh,
it's
they're all
big
Gex.
they're 100 Gex fans.
One of my favorites that perfectly captures it is the container ship sticker. The container ships are a meme on the neoliberal subreddit, which is like,
elaborate.
well, just like the fact that they exist, like it's the kind of the perfect example of capitalism for them. That like goods
Yeah.
can be shipped around the world in
mean,
a second,
That makes sense.
and it's like, yeah, like talk about like maybe like among the worst working conditions you can have in the world. But you know,
That's also taco trucks.
Yeah, true.
Like food trucks regularly employ like modern slaves. Like that is a thing, especially like ice cream trucks in the UK. There was a huge thing about that.
yeah. But imagine
But,
you were
like-
a slave in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're Jesus Christ. Yeah, we're in international waters taco truck.
Yeah, and your company is based in Panama, quote unquote.
Yes, of course.
Panama.
So the confusing thing about the confusing thing about what's going on in this store and the various like swag you can buy from them.
Yeah, Ben
is-
Bernanke with the neoliberal Supreme logo over his eyes.
Yeah, exactly. But
I kind of want that.
I fucking have to look at that
Yeah,
store
but
now.
I'm
you-
fucking
be
Ben
like-
Bernanke hype beast over here. I got the Bernanke 13s on my feet right now, so
I'm going to print a Gerhard Schröder Supreme shirt after this.
Yeah,
Yes,
let's
please.
go. Let's go.
Put it in the
Please.
corner Späti store.
that'd
Yeah.
be so
We,
sick. I want
we
that.
could add a lot. I think we could. I mean, they have a Berlin office, as we've been saying, but I think they could get some more European content because right now it's just Macron, but it's very like American gaze, which you know something we've never done.
oh yeah.
but they could do better.
But it's neoliberalism though. It is like an American ideology to a certain extent. Like it was Reagan who would like that they all idolize as the guy who kicked this off in the Chicago school.
Yeah,
and shit like
talk
that.
about a guy who was just having a great time, being like, I just get to tell my funny jokes, and they're gonna take care of everything.
Thatcher was
I
before
have-
Reagan.
Yeah, true.
That's
By
true.
2
Sorry.
years, yeah.
But anyway, the point I was going to make about what's happening in this merch store and what you need to view first in this merch store to understand where the fuck they themselves think they are coming from is the steer clear of the populist tides poster, which is
yeah,
which is
there are a
the
few of those
poster you can bu-
classics from the
Yeah. It's a poster of like a ship called Ship of State or something. And one cliffside is called Reaction and one side is called Revolution. So it's not only that they view themselves as anti-left, they also view themselves as like anti-right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's why the money printer thing exists. Like why we might associate that with say like modern monetary theory or something like that. They're just like trying to own the people who still like want to return to the gold standard or something.
Yeah,
Like,
because
that's-
they're like rightfully like pointing out one of the worst ideas that like still is around in economics. Because you have like idiots like Rand Paul who've only read
Yeah.
Atlas Shrugged who think that they fucking understand how monetary theory works. Yeah, like it's not hard to counteract that because the other option that isn't like, you know, what MMT is literally the monetary policy that then crashed the economy in the 1920s. So you can't do much worse than that. I mean,
It's actually interesting because in academic discourse, they are a marginalized group now.
good because I hate them.
No, it's just interesting because, like, okay, there was the big thing in the 90s, of course. Like, at least in the European context. I don't know how it goes, like, in America or
Wait,
something.
you're saying
like that.
neoliberals are marginalized?
Yeah, when it comes to research in economics, academic
No.
economics, yes.
I would what?
Yeah.
What? What? Like, have you not
No,
read
but-
The Economist?
No, but like
I
what's
mean,
what's
in research,
Yuli,
like-
what's the alternative?
Nick,
that's
you're
being put
already a
forward?
neoliberal. You're fitting in
I mean,
great.
I mean, when it comes to like here, when we talk about like fucking GDP and shit like that, you see that in academics actually, you don't have this as the
Hegemony.
yeah, exactly. Anymore, like you had in the during the 90s. There is a lot of added to it,
But
saying
this
like we can't go directly with this. This doesn't work. It doesn't. We have to add something.
But
You know?
it's always within like a neoliberal framework of the people that then who are suggesting things are also like Macron fans, and they're like people like Joseph Stiglitz who are questionably like neoliberal.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
but
my favorite one is Paul Krugman, who's like an absolute
I'm just
psychopath.
saying you are not really respected anymore when you go like straight only neoliberal.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah,
agenda.
you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
exactly. That's
traditional
what I'm talking
like
about. So
traditional
90s,
neoliberalism.
kind of 80s, 90s neoliberalism.
Traditional neoliberalism is just like is pretty much just classical liberalism though. Like you can't do that. I mean, especially today, especially with like the like fucking like internet community of it, you can't be a classical liberal anymore because that just is you code from a racist online. Like
Yeah, I liked liberalism back when they denied women the vote.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
what that
slavery.
means.
Don't ask me about it. Like but so that's I mean that is the thing of it being a Big Ten grouping is that I mean you mentioned that there's like the idea of a sock emoji for the sock dems makes me just mad. It makes me so fucking good.
I don't think
But Nick-
it didn't super catch on. But
Nick,
yeah.
you mentioned slavery.
The fact
If
that
this
you
store,
have,
if this store existed in like 1850, they would absolutely have like a cotton sticker you could buy, being like, "It's great, it's cheap."
but I mean, you have like under then like the same realm of I mean, because remember they're also like nerds for like the marketplace of ideas, and you have to debate everything over. So like you can have like. I'm not even going to say that then that's heterodox, like at least in the economic standpoint, that those aren't heterodoxical points of view. Those are pretty standard that people like realize like, damn, austerity kind of shit. GDP maybe is not the best measurement, but like those can exist. Like, don't talk about things like rent control because
of course. I'm not saying that there is no neoliberalism anymore, or there aren't like neoliberal like ideas or thinking points in all of these new economics, old economics, whatever. But it's not like we had it in the 90s or in the 80s that you have this pure saying like, oh, we just have to privatize everything and Eastern Europe will be fine.
Yeah, I think that maybe is different in the case of Germany because it literally was like Germany was like the Iraq of like just like this frontier of like everything that you could just privatize and like just there's no rules. What is it? No rules, just right. Outback Steakhouse. What's the fucking thing?
Well, just like going to Germany, privatizing everything. I want to remind everyone: happy holidays. Good luck getting your fucking postage from DHL, motherfucker.
They should have more Eastern European stickers, by the way. Again,
They
if we're
should.
branching
I know
out.
this is. I mean, that's the thing you can flex with, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, that's the thing is that like, talk about something that then just like is the most neoliberal place I've ever been to in my fucking entire life is Latvia. Like, it is not real.
It's beautiful.
It's not like it's just these things of like people were told kind of sort of how capitalism functions,
It's like-
but they still don't really.
It's when the IMF tells you that the measures for austerity that you are implementing are worse than what they recommend you, like the fucking IMF.
It's king shit.
I mean, seriously.
A literal neoliberal.
That's Latvia.
You're fucking
But
going
that's
buck wild.
But that's going back to like based neoliberal, which is like they don't want to do that.
Latvia's too
They
based
are
for them.
ashamed. Yeah, exactly, because they're not bringing up Eastern Europe. They're not bringing up South America because there was also shit done in South America.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
shock
yeah.
doctrine.
I want to Chile as a U Chicago graduate. I do want a Chile Chicago boys Chile like sticker. put on everything.
What?
There's also like the neoliberalism of like them saying like, oh, tax carbon now, or the legalize or build housing shit. It's like that is not what neoliberal like ideologues do. They don't do that.
All right, wait,
They
check this
especially
out.
don't
Check
build
it.
housing.
All right, how about it's like legalize it, and you think it's gonna be weed, but then it's like an Uber driver or something.
Print it. We'll sell 12 of them to the same institution.
While we're on the topic, I would buy any neoliberal sticker that was like those old school like Marxist writings that are like the bourgeoisie is the only revolutionary class that has actually won in the historical record. I'd buy that. Like if they printed that on a sticker.
Yo,
Put that on my laptop.
But again,
Ben Bernanke
too based.
fucking Supreme shirt.
Oh
has
my
just,
God, I need it.
I've already ordered 12.
Oh,
Again,
there is also a Janet Yellen one. Damn.
Did you see the neoliberale action sticker, which is like a Antifa
With the-
action sticker, except it's got the EU flag on it.
Yeah, the UN.
wait.
And the
Beautiful.
UN flag.
Oh fuck! This is actually something that I wanted to ask earlier, but I didn't. I was too quiet. Is
Go.
like, how does neoliberal organizing work? Because they are using all of these stickers, but how does it?
This is so horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing? You're not going to start a protest for privatizing something, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if it happens, folks, you better believe we're
Yeah,
going to be
this
fucking on
fucking-
the ground
Is there-
reporting live.
Yeah, the fucking buy foreign bumper sticker definitely is going to get
Is
people to come and just hang out with you.
Is there anything like neoliberal direct action or something? I don't know. Like,
Wait,
Yeah,
but
here.
this
tax,
is this
tax
is
carbon
I think
now,
it's just
right
posting.
here.
That's a good question, but I think it's just
Yeah,
posting.
right?
Like what
because
can
this
you
is
do
the-
for your country is just like let the adults and
Yeah.
bureaucrats and smart people do their thing. You can read and post.
Oh my god, their
But this
obsession
is-
with NAFTA makes me want to fucking kill myself.
but
But like,
seriously.
It's working.
going to Yulia's point, and I'm interested to see what Josh says with this because
me
like
too.
everything about the neoliberal project.org is a lot of it really seems like we have like I said, my original thesis is this is kind of a reaction to the left, and he's kind of said that so much with like Occupy Wall Street being like a thing that kind of kicked this off about like how online meshed with like offline and all this kind of stuff. But like, and even just when I saw the map on neoliberalproject.org that had like chapters, like local chapters or whatever, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? This looks like you've taken the political strategy of like a left-wing organization and tried to graft it onto right-wing politics, which like really does not work because what is the protest going to be? It's just like rule us, daddy. Tell
Yeah.
us like what to do because all right-wing politics is like telling someone to like elect the king, like bring the king back. That's what it is. It's like someone needs to be in charge of this and it can't be me.
The thing that I just don't understand is that, like, how does it, like, I kind of tying into Yulia's thing is that the thing that's so hard about neoliberalism to get behind is that it is this, like, purely academic, nerd, wonky thing. So the amount of, like, I mean, you literally have to convince yourself over being wrong 1,000 times over that this is good. Like, you can't, like, any normal person would not look at any, like, I mean, I'm looking through, like, the stickers, and there's fucking NAFTA stickers. Like, anyone with half a brain knows that NAFTA's, like, destroyed the economy of, like, Mexico and, like, partially the United States, depending on how, like, where you are in the country, you know? How do you, like, you have to, like, you just have to be a fucking nerd to then be like, oh, well, actually, you don't understand it because NAFTA did this and this and this and this and this, while then completely destroying the indigenous communities of, you know, southern Mexico, which is, we're just going to ignore that. You know, like, you literally have to just be cucked into this. There is no other way of explaining it. Like, I think that you can, like, the thing about leftism or whatever, although I like talk shit a lot on Twitter about the fucking academic bullshit nonsense of it, is that then the reality of it is it's pretty easy to explain to someone in like 5 sentences why you should be a leftist, you know? Like, or like one form.
Yeah,
That's
I guess,
way
like-
too many sentences when you can just buy a sticker.
No,
The-
but
the-
like,
but
but
the
that's the
neoliberal
thing, though, is that you
answer-
have to explain all these stickers with like a fucking, you know,
Yeah, I know.
a fucking policy paper from the fucking Cato
You know what-
Institute or some bullshit.
You know what it is,
you
Nick?
know?
You know what it is? Is it's telling people who are like already, like I said, who are already young professionals or are aware of the political debates, and they're saying it's okay. You can be cool and like these things. It can be cool and funny. And you know what?
It's an affirmative community for that, basically, of
Yeah.
people who can identify each
Yeah,
other
I hate
online
it.
with the globe emoji or whatever and provide each other support and to provide them like a voice of agreement, basically.
So that
which-
rose emoji who made you feel bad, that's not your fault. They're the bad ones. It's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, so it isn't trying to like expand itself, then, right? It's only for like nerds. It's like
Yeah,
Warhammer.
But that ties
for-
into my
for
question. Like, yeah, how does
lanyard
this
boys
like
and girls.
organizing neoliberal organizing work? Like,
I
Well,
think
this actually. No,
Josh?
like so. Two things. There's two things. Like, which is first, which is like NAFTA. Like the way they only explain these things is just like, look at this graph, look at this metric. 'Cause the only way NAFTA looks good is if you still believe in GDP. Yeah, look at this graph. But like, yeah, the only way NAFTA looks good is because ever since NAFTA, the GDP of Canada, US, and Mexico has gone up. And if you just look at GDP and like
Yay,
nothing else,
GDP.
it's like, yeah, NAFTA worked. Yeah, exactly. But like GDP is stupid, and Yulia is right. Anyone who believes in GDP and economics is just getting like pantsed and swirlied right now.
yes,
But like,
rightfully so.
I think the other side of this is one kind of thing that like really disappoints people when they do their like first electoral like door knocking campaign in a lot of countries is that you'll be told to knock on the doors of people who you already know are voters. People think that they're going to do door knocking to like convince people to vote for the Labour Party in the UK, when actually Labour is just like, can you go to people we know are Labour voters and just make sure they turn out? Like remind them the election is coming. This is what this is. This is trying to grab everyone who was like on their side already, but bring them in, bring them under the one banner and like try and consolidate it as one group. Rather than I don't think there is any strategy of like expanding this group at all.
Yeah.
It's
to like take the lumpen losers of Reddit and provide them like a little community and a little bit of like direction towards a goal, which is what political mobilization is all
Yeah.
about, I guess.
and on the one
but
hand,
it's not,
go ahead.
yeah, it's mobilization, it's not persuasion.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think on the one hand, like my first reaction to this was like, basically, as I mentioned with like the whatever Epstein stuff, this is all just so soy. Like you're like you're doing the like soy face about it's like Marvel movies or something.
Oh, come on, Supreme
Taco
Ben
trucks.
Bernanke is pretty cool. Come on, that's
It
great.
is actually
We all
cool.
love
I
it.
would
We
say
love
You
it.
could
that-
just have
that
so
one-
much more power. Like, okay, no, but you know what it is? It's like
To be fair, though, you can
People
put a
make this-
Supreme logo on anything and it's cool, all right? So it's also like
people make this analogy about Trump and Fox News, right? Like Fox News was like, you know, like kind of like just to like corn feed all of the like rubes out there while the Republican elite did what they needed to do, and then Trump was the Fox News watcher in power. And when I look at this, I'm like, when are we going to have our first neoliberal person who's like, you know, president in 30 years or whatever? Like, I that's the feeling I get. But at the same time, I don't know. They're just saying like, hey, let the system take over. And you know, everything you guys are saying, like that fits perfectly. Like, what do they expect you to do? I'm going to direct you to the sticker at the second to last sticker on the page. The only sticker I unironically like, which is the "I just want to grill" sticker. And that is basically what they're telling people: just grill.
Yeah.
You know, actually, all the
Yeah.
stuff
Did
that's
German
happening
make
is
this?
good, and you can just grill. It's true. I do respect the Germans are very grill pilled.
Right?
oh, the Germans are so grill pilled. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Angrillen im März.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there was definitely a contingency of like interwar Weimar Republic Germans who were just like, fire at the Bundestag. I just want to grill. Like, what's going on, guys? Let's just calm down. Yeah, the merch is kind of weak. Like, I do really like the Supreme t-shirt, but if I saw someone wearing the Supreme Neoliberal t-shirt and they told me that was Paul Giamatti, I'd believe them. Like,
Damn, Paul Giamatti
Bernanke
Supreme
doesn't-
shirt. Sick. Yeah, I'm going to go on
Yeah.
StockX and see how those are doing.
But yeah, I think Rob's right. But this is all going together with what we said before. Their politics is like, believe in neoliberalism, trust Bernanke to do it.
Trust the
and you
process.
can
Another
grill.
sticker they could have.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what the ship is. That's what the ship poster is. It's like, hold steady. Don't change anything. It will improve. Because that's also their argument for NAFTA. It's just like, no, just give NAFTA more time and things will be better.
Give NAFTA a chance
Yeah.
after 30 years.
Like, that's also what they said in the 90s. Just give it more time. Poland will be fine.
They'll do it all the time.
I have like
Poland
a
was-
wrap-up
was
question
not
for for Josh, but for everybody. So like, what do we think the future holds? Because to me, I feel like the political like dynamic I'm always trying to tease out in my head, like making sure I'm not like biased to one direction or the other, is that the heyday of like the neoliberal, whether it's the right in the 80s or like the third way in the 90s, like can that come back? Like, I never want to do like an ahistorical analysis because I do think it's very easy to slip into something saying like, oh, they're just going to go back to their old playbook. When the playbook is constantly shifting, that is the like meaning of history, you know? And I do think that what they're saying is that like, just trust the process. Like a bunch of bad shit's going to happen. Just grill, look at these colorful stickers. Don't ask questions. I don't know. What do you all think? Like, what's in store for us, whether it's under a Joe Biden presidency, under the ongoing Keir Starmer premiership? I wonder how many Starmer bros have these stickers.
I'm a Starmer bro, and I've got him. But no, I think if we're plotting the trajectory from like the PPI to the neoliberal project, the PPI was really like an elite organization that focused on like generating policy proposals for like policymakers and for politicians. The neoliberal project is something very different, focused on a completely different group of people. And it's like kind of born out of the realization that these things are now contested, that there needs to be kind of a presence online or in the discourse that, you know, wasn't present really in the 90s for this organization at least. So it's kind of moving from an elite organization to one that's a bit more populist and trying to actually have a solid base of support. So that means that there's a recognition that these things are now contested. That's I think that's where we are.
I think that I'm gonna kind of repeat what I've been saying. I don't know if it was here, if it was talking with my flatmate or something like that. The reason that I think that this stuff exists is because neoliberalism doesn't exist anymore. Like, we're kind of seeing this with like Macron, is that neoliberalism has just become like mask off right-wing authoritarianism. Like when push comes to, like Joe Biden is a perfect example of that as well. Of that, the Biden presidency is going to be a right-wing, quite conservative presidency at the end of the day. I think that then whatever chapter that then is coming, I mean, neoliberalism is like kind of one of those funny things that like never really existed, but then also existed simultaneously everywhere. Depending on who you asked. And I think that we're finally like, I think that chapter of this politic that is still popular within pretty much just like lanyard nerds and like bog standard, you know, poli-sci academics. I think that there's enough challenge from, you know, particularly like, you know, whether it be the bad eggs like Orban, Poland, Turkey, in Europe at least alone, and of course you can like, you know, put Russia into that mix, and then from the good boys and girls like, you know, Macron and maybe questionably Merkel, is that it's not a thing anymore. It's just like this whole third way big tent politics thing is a thing of the past. We're seeing then like the traditional neoliberal parties as a kind of an oxymoron because they don't really exist in a lot of countries, but seeing it then how like Germany's like slipping with their you know SPD membership and stuff like that, like the party who brought neoliberalism into the country is just not doing well, and that then the thing that's turning on younger Germans is like this environmentalism stuff or whatever, this and that still is neoliberal, like don't get me wrong, but this package of like, you know, big tent neoliberal politics, I would argue, is just kind of out the door, and this is kind of like an internet niche group last hurrah thing that I can't see lasting for longer than maybe like 5 years, you know, because they'll like their true colors will either show as being like the right-wing authoritarians they are, because that is what their politic boiled down to just becomes, and historically kind of shows that to more or less be the case. You know, don't need to point to all the fucking dictatorships that neoliberals like. But yeah, I don't see it as anything that then's more than just a posting community at this point. You know, I don't know if anyone else has something to say.
Yeah, I just kind of add to that of like the whole thing feels like the death throes. Like I said earlier, it feels like the jig is up. Like Josh was saying, these ideas are now being contested, and they're being contested quite popularly. Like, the neoliberal posting community hasn't been able to organize the same kind of like pylons that occur pretty naturally with like rose emoji Twitter, of when someone posts like some absolute garbage, like I don't know, like some commentator from the New York Times. It's like, I think people get pissed off, like particularly our neoliberal people get pissed off because they all thought it was coming from our Chapo, and part of it probably was. But now that our Chapo's gone, the pylons on Twitter are still happening, and the journalists are being told they're idiots for like backing these ideas. So yeah, I feel like neoliberalism only ever really worked when you couldn't say you were neoliberal, but now that you are, it's kind of falling apart. However, the other thing that scares me about this is just how fluid to them neoliberalism is. So, like, I don't think it will be the death of neoliberalism as a term, because they'll just, like, no matter what Joe Biden does, no matter what Macron does, even if we do, anyone with their head screwed on straight will analyze them as being, like, very punitive, authoritarian, like, center-right politicians, classically conservative or whatever. People will just still call, these dipshits will still call them neoliberal.
Yeah, but that was the way that the ideology was like more or less designed, wasn't it? As a Big Ten thing. So.
And it wouldn't only be supporters of the idea of neoliberalism that would call it neoliberalism. Like, people still call Viktor Orban neoliberal, even though there's a mix of a lot of different policies going on in Hungary without like a straightforward, ideology behind it.
And like the neoliberalism of the Green parties is like a problem with like Green leadership. Like, this is not what any of the like Green voters want. Like, I think Ireland is the ultimate example of that, because Irish Green leadership is as neoliberal as like the German Greens, but like they're now just completely tanked in the polls now that they've been exposed for 5 seconds as like cutting rent support during the pandemic and shit like that. They compromised all of their supposedly environmentalist values. This is not what the environmental vote wants. Although the German Green vote is like more insane, because it's like, I don't want to vote for the German Greens anymore. I'll vote for CDU. It's like, who are you? What are you doing? What's going on? What are your motivations?
It's called respect here, and it's called La Familia. If only you understood.
But it's I'm very interested to see where it goes, and I'm interested to see. But the other thing is that like this thing won't fail. They're flushed with cash, so like they'll last forever. It's going to be terrible. I love it.
If being a
Rob,
neoliberal means trusting the process, then I guess I'm pretty pessimistic, because I think that's what most people are going to do. So I don't know if that's moving the goalposts, but I guess I'm pretty optimistic about neoliberalism's chances, but we'll see.
One thing they're actually very good at is like being technocrats, so like writing policy papers, etc. So I think there will still be an influence, in that sense.
They'll become influencers.
Basically policy influencers. I mean,
they'll just all get really
because
hot.
There is a bit thing about
Dummy
like think tanks, and think tanks, of course, they go in a certain direction, being actually something that is, that came about because of that, and is a lot of the times, of course, more radical in these kind of like economic policies in the way they are thinking than what is actually being done later on in a policy or something like that. But still, like, if you're already born rich, basically, or like with certain connections or whatever, you do have a way to. Pitch some ideas.
That's the 50 Cent album, isn't it? Born rich and stay rich.
Stay rich, yeah. I don't know.
Alive.
Just,
Born rich and just hanging
Living
out.
forever.
Yeah. So just,
No, yeah. Of course, like the think tanks are going nowhere. I just think that they're not gonna like. I think Kieran's really right in the sense of that then they'll just continuously call themselves neoliberals, even though that version of neoliberalism
that's
won't
what
exist.
I said in the beginning.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. No, I mean, everyone, like, all my friends are right. I'm not...
We are never wrong on this podcast.
Not
Never.
once.
Nope. Not once. I forgot that it says that on the Patreon. I was looking at our Patreon today, and it's like the description of the podcast literally ends with the sentence, "We're never wrong."
Very humble.
Yeah.
Give us your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't fucking get your data out of here, Yasha Monk.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna vibe it out. I'm gonna put my feelers out and see where the wind's blowing. Populism.
I'm looking forward to the pylon from Globe Emoji Twitter when we release this episode.
It's not gonna happen.
See if they-
I can't wait.
Let's see if they could. No, because the other thing that's really sad about this is they do try to organize pylons, and I feel like we're small enough a target that they think they have their chances.
What are they gonna do?
So that's
like what?
I don't know. They're gonna call me like a nerd or something, and I'll cry. I'm very weak. My self-esteem is like an Easter egg, except it's just the foil around an Easter egg, and if you poke it, there's actually nothing inside. It's just foil in the shape of an egg.
I just mute conversations I don't want to have on Twitter.
They probably want to discuss shit.
No, exactly.
You know?
I'm gonna mute their asses.
And then they're gonna be super offended if we.
I'm gonna mute their asses. Yeah, they're gonna.
No, I'm gonna keep getting. I'm gonna get a notification that insults me, and then I'll cry, and then I get a second notification. It's like, okay, maybe they're apologizing, and I'll look at it. It's an insult, and I cry again.
They can't insult. They suck. No, I don't.
Yeah,
no.
I don't know.
They just come at you with facts.
Yeah. Facts don't care about your feelings, Kieran.
Policies don't care about your intentions.
Yeah.
Policy outcomes don't care about your intentions.
Yo.
Oh yeah, that's one of their stickers. God damn
I
it, I hate
already
this.
learned it.
I hate this so much, but also I love it, and I'm a neoliberal now. So I'm leaving the podcast. I'm gonna live a good life. I'm gonna be rich.
That's all it takes.
Yeah. See you suckers. I'll drive past your house, Kieran, in like a brand new Mercedes. And I'll honk at you and be like, "Look at me now. I'm got my Ben Bernanke swag on."
I'll be like squinting at it, like, is that Paul Giamatti?
So, Josh, is there anything? First of all, thank you for coming on today. Is there anything you want to promote?
Yes, thank you, Josh.
Follow my
anything-
Twitter account. Get that in
we'll
the description,
do.
maybe.
In the description, Josh, one of my favorite Twitter follows. Everyone should follow him. He's very
You
funny.
keep getting T-boned in your convertible.
Yeah, that's a running series I got going. Yeah,
I love it.
Find it quarantine. It's fun.
Yeah, man. All right, I guess that's it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Till next time.
Bye bye.
Ciao.
Bye
All
bye.
right, peace, everyone.